The ambush star. Zoe Meridian adjusted her spectral analyzer as the research vessel Galileo's Dream drifted through the asteroid field at the edge of Kepler 442 space. The xenogeologist had spent 3 months cataloging mineral compositions in neutral territory, her small team of 12 scientists documenting everything from exotic crystalline formations to potential terraforming candidates. It was peaceful work, exactly what she'd requested after her father's last tour. Zoe, we're picking up multiple contacts, called Navigator Finn Ashworth from the bridge. His voice carried an edge that made her stomach clench. They're not broadcasting. Identification. She rushed to the observation deck, where Communications Officer Yuki Tanaka was frantically adjusting frequencies. 17 ships, military configuration, Yuki reported. Vorthic design, but something's wrong. They're powering weapons. The lead alien vessel's hull gleamed crimson under the system's dying star. Through the viewport, Zoe watched sleek Predator-class ships emerge from the asteroid shadows like metallic sharks. The Vorthic hegemony had maintained peace treaties with Earth for decades. This made no sense. "Open a channel," ordered Captain Marcus Webb, his weathered face grim. "This is the UES Galileo's Dream, conducting authorized research under Galactic." Accord section. The transmission cut as energy lances tore through their communication array. Emergency lights bathed the bridge in hellish red as the ship bucked under direct hits. Zoe grabbed the emergency beacon, her father's training kicking in despite her terror. "Emergency transmission to Earth Command," she spoke rapidly into the device. "This is Dr. Zoe Meridian, daughter of General Marcus Meridian, aboard research vessel Galileo's Dream. We are under unprovoked attack by Vorthic forces at coordinates." The ship's hull screamed as another barrage struck. Yuki's console exploded in sparks, throwing her against the bulkhead. Captain Webb was shouting orders, but Zoe could barely hear over the deafening alarms. "Please," she continued into the beacon, tears streaming down her face as she watched. Her friends and colleagues fighting desperately to save their ship. "We're scientists, not soldiers. We've done nothing wrong. If anyone receives this, tell my father I..." The final missile struck amidships, and the Galileo's Dream split apart in a brilliant flash. The beacon, designed to survive even complete. Hull breach, tumbled through space, its quantum transmitter still broadcasting. In the debris field, 17 Vorthic ships methodically vaporized every piece larger than a human body. But they missed one critical detail. The beacon's final transmission had been tagged with real-time coordinates and full biometric confirmation. And on Earth, in a command center buried beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus Meridian heard his daughter's last words with perfect clarity. The galaxy had just made its gravest mistake. The father's rage, General Marcus. Meridian stood motionless. In Earth Command's war room, watching his daughter's final transmission replay for the 7th time. Around him, officers maintained respectful silence as the galaxy's most decorated military commander processed the destruction of everything he held dear. His weathered hands, scarred from countless battles, trembled almost imperceptibly. "Sir," whispered Colonel Janet Pierce, his longtime aide, "the Global Council is convening emergency session. They're asking for your assessment." Marcus didn't respond immediately. On the holographic display, Zoe's terrified face flickered as she spoke her last words. His brilliant daughter, who'd chosen xenogeology specifically to avoid the military. Life that had consumed 3 generations of Meridians. She'd wanted to build bridges between species, not burn them. "General?" Admiral Harrison Cross entered cautiously. "The Vorthic embassy claims this was a rogue cell. They're offering reparations and get out." Marcus's voice was barely audible, but Harrison retreated instantly. In 40 years of service, no one had heard that particular tone from the Iron. Wolf of Titan. Marcus activated his personal terminal, and began typing with mechanical precision. Authorization codes that hadn't been used since the Santorai Rebellion flowed across the screen. Deep in Earth's most classified archives, protocols written in his own hand decades ago began initializing. "Sir?" Pierce ventured again. "What are your orders?" He turned, and she stepped back involuntarily. His gray eyes had become something inhuman twin voids that seemed to drink in light. "Send a message to all fleet commanders. Operation Nightmare is now active. All ships are to report to classified staging areas immediately." "Sir, Operation Nightmare doesn't exist in any. It does now." He sealed the transmission with his command codes. "And Pierce? Send word to Dr. Victor Hess in Project Pandora. Tell him his theoretical weapons are no longer theoretical." Pierce's face went white. Project Pandora was whispered about in the deepest corners of military intelligence, rumored weapons so terrible that even proposing their construction was considered treason. "General, the Council would never authorize. The Council doesn't know about Pandora. Only 3 people on Earth knew. Myself, Hess, and the President. Now it's 4. His smile was a predator's expression. "My daughter believed in peace through understanding. But some species only understand one language." He activated the general broadcast system, his voice reaching every human ship, station, and colony simultaneously. "This is General Marcus Meridian. 17 hours ago, my daughter was murdered by Vorthic terrorists while conducting peaceful research. This was not an act of war. It was an act of genocide attempted on the most innocent among us." His voice hardened to diamond. "All fleet commanders will receive sealed orders within the hour. All civilian vessels will clear the shipping lanes immediately. And to any alien forces monitoring this transmission, you have 72 hours to evacuate all non-essential personnel from Vorthic space." The transmission ended, leaving the war room in absolute silence. Within minutes, every human military vessel in known space vanished from tracking systems, cloaked by technology no alien species knew existed. The vanishing Fleet Supreme Admiral Kethvar of the Vorthic hegemony studied the tactical display with growing unease. Across known space, human vessels were simply disappearing. Not destroyed, their quantum signatures were intact, but their locations had become impossible to determine. "Report," he commanded his intelligence chief, Sub-Commander Yithnel. "Earth's entire military has gone dark simultaneously. Over 3,000 vessels, from destroyers to their flagship dreadnoughts. Our tracking stations show they're still functional, but their positions are completely masked." Kethvar's mandibles clicked nervously. In 5 centuries of military service, he'd never seen anything like this. What of their civilian traffic? Ceased entirely. Every human merchant vessel, transport, and colony ship has retreated to their home systems. It's as if they single quotes pre-airing. The Supreme Admiral's scaled hide rippled with unease. The attack on the research vessel had been orchestrated by extremist factions within his own government warhawks who believed humanity's rapid expansion threatened Vorthic supremacy. He'd discovered the plot too late to prevent it, but soon. Enough to understand its catastrophic implications. "Sir," Communications Officer Zach Toole interrupted, "we're receiving diplomatic overtures from 17 different species. They're all asking the same question. What did we do to anger Earth?" The holographic display updated, showing frantic activity throughout the galaxy. The Altarian Republic was mobilizing their defense fleets. The Crystalline Collective had sealed their borders. Even the mighty Draconian Empire was reportedly moving assets away from human-adjacent space. "They're scared," Sub-Commander Yithnal observed. "All of them." Kethvar understood why. Humanity had emerged as a galactic power only 2 centuries ago, but their military reputation was already legendary. The Iron Wolf's campaigns had broken 3 separate invasions through pure tactical brilliance and technological superiority. But this felt different, calculated, and cold in a way that made his warrior instincts scream warnings. "Sir, long range. Sensors are detecting massive energy buildups in uninhabited systems," reported sensor technician Val Moore. "The signatures are unlike anything in our databases." "Show me." The display shifted to show remote star systems on the galactic rim. In 17 different locations, energy readings were spiking to levels that defied conventional physics. Each buildup was occurring in systems with no known strategic value, empty space, dotted with worthless asteroids and dying stars. "Analysis?" Cathvar demanded. "Unknown, sir. The energy patterns don't match any known weapon signatures, but the power levels." Val Moore's voice cracked slightly. "Each location is generating enough energy to sterilize a planet. Multiple planets." A junior officer burst into the command center. "Supreme Admiral, priority transmission from Earth." The message began playing immediately, showing General Marcus Meridian's weathered face against a backdrop of stars. His voice was calm, almost conversational, but carried undertones that made Cathvar's blood freeze. "To the Vorthic hegemony, my daughter is dead. 17 of your ships murdered innocent scientists in neutral space. You have claimed this was unauthorized action, but you celebrated it nonetheless. Therefore, I'm providing a demonstration of human resolve. Watch your skies." The transmission ended abruptly. "Sir," whispered Val Moore, "something's happening in the Kepler 442 system. The stars begin to die, Dr. Victor Hess floated in zero gravity within the weapons laboratory hidden in Saturn's rings, watching his life's most terrifying work finally reach completion. The theoretical physicist had spent decades developing weapons that existed only in classified equations until today. "Stellar conversion array is fully charged," reported Chief Engineer Diana Cross, her voice tight with barely controlled terror. Around them, machinery hummed with barely contained energy that could reshape solar systems. Victor had named it the Oblivion Protocol during late-night calculations, never imagining anyone would be desperate enough to actually build it. The weapon didn't destroy planets. It murdered stars themselves, turning them into weapons against entire civilizations. "Final systems check," Victor commanded. Through the laboratory's transparent aluminum walls, he could see 17 massive arrays positioned throughout the solar system, each one aimed at a different distant star. The Vorthic homeworlds would witness something no species in galactic history had ever seen. Array 1 through 17 reporting full operational status, Diana confirmed. General Meridian is requesting final authorization for target confirmation. Victor's hands trembled as he activated the targeting system. Each array would focus on a different star in Vorthic space, not their sun, but the secondary and tertiary stars that provided warmth to their outer colonies. The weapon would cause controlled stellar collapse, creating temporary black holes that would consume everything within 3 light years before dissipating. "Target acquired. Vorthic system designation Keth'7, he announced, his voice barely steady. Secondary star with 4 inhabited moons. Population, approximately 200 million. The communication channel crackled. "Dr. Hess, this is General Meridian. Confirm your understanding of the mission parameters." I understand, sir. The stellar conversion will create a controlled singularity. The star will collapse, consuming the entire system before the black hole evaporates. It will appear as if the star simply vanished, leaving nothing but empty space. Correct. And the psychological impact? Victor swallowed hard. Any species witnessing this will understand that humanity can delete star systems at will. It's not destruction, it's erasure. As if those worlds never existed. Begin the sequence, Doctor. Fire on my mark. Victor's finger hovered over the Activation control. Around him, engineers monitored readings that defied conventional physics. The arrays were drawing power directly from Earth's sun through quantum tunneling, channeling stellar energy across impossible distances. "Sir," Diana whispered, "long-range sensors show the Vorthic fleets are attempting to evacuate their outer colonies. They know something's coming." "Too late," Victor muttered. His daughter would have been horrified by what he was about to unleash. But Zoe Meridian had been murdered by cowards who thought humanity was weak. They were about to learn otherwise. "All arrays synchronized," he reported, standing by for final authorization. General Meridian's voice came through crystal clear. "Fire." Victor pressed the control. Across 17 different star systems, ancient suns that had burned for billions of years suddenly stopped existing. Where thriving solar systems had hosted millions of lives, there was now only empty void, dark spaces where starlight would never shine again. The galaxy watched in absolute horror as humanity demonstrated they could murder stars themselves. When Earth's soul burns, the emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in absolute chaos. Representatives from 200 species filled the massive chamber on the neutral world of Concordia, their various forms trembling with terror and rage. In the center of the amphitheater, a holographic display showed 17 star systems that no longer existed. "This is genocide on an unimaginable scale," shrieked Ambassador Zethkar of the Vorthic hegemony, his scaled hide pale with shock. 17 systems, over 4 billion lives, simply gone. Chancellor Moravex of the Altarian Republic stood slowly, her crystalline form catching the chamber's lights. The humans sent a message before they acted. It was not indiscriminate slaughter. It was calculated demonstration. Calculated? Zethkar's voice rose to a screech. They murdered stars. They erased entire worlds from existence. Ambassador Chun Wei-Ming, humanity's representative, sat in perfect silence at the human delegation table. The elderly diplomat's face showed no emotion as species after species condemned Earth's actions. He'd known Marcus Meridian for 30 years, had watched the general's daughter grow up. He understood exactly why this had happened. "The floor recognizes the human delegation," announced the council moderator. Chun stood slowly, his movements deliberate and measured. "Thank you, Chancellor. I have received authorization to deliver humanity's official statement regarding recent events." The chamber fell silent. In the gallery, journalists from across the galaxy leaned forward, knowing they were about to witness history. 17 hours ago, Vorthic military forces destroyed an unarmed research vessel conducting authorized scientific work in neutral space. 12 civilian scientists were murdered without provocation, including Dr. Zoe Meridian, daughter of General Marcus Meridian, Earth's senior military commander. Chun's voice remained perfectly calm. The Vorthic hegemony claims this was unauthorized action by extremist elements. However, intelligence reports confirm that your high command was aware of and approved this attack as part of a broader strategy to intimidate human expansion. Zethkar started to object, but Chun continued without pause. In response, Earth has demonstrated the consequences of attacking human civilians. 17 military targets were eliminated through controlled stellar collapse. These were chosen. Specifically, each system hosted Vorthic military installations responsible for planning attacks on human colonies. The lie was delivered with perfect diplomatic smoothness. In reality, the targets had been selected for maximum psychological impact, but Chin understood the game being played. However, Chun continued, this was merely a demonstration. Earth's message to the galaxy is simple. Humanity values peace, but we will defend our own with absolute resolve. Any species that chooses to target human civilians will discover that we possess the ability to erase them from existence. The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted accusations, demands, threats. But Chun noticed something else. Many delegates were looking at the human table with something approaching respect. Fear, certainly, but also the recognition that humanity had just established itself as the galaxy's apex predator. The floor will recognize no further speakers on this matter, the council moderator announced. This session is adjourned. As delegates filed out in stunned silence, Ambassador Zefkar approached the human table. "This isn't over," he hissed. "The galaxy will unite against your species. You've made yourselves into monsters." Sean smiled politely. "Perhaps, but those monsters just ensured that no alien species will ever again mistake human kindness for human weakness." "Good day, Ambassador." In the depths of space, General Marcus Meridian stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching long-range sensors detect massive fleet movements throughout the galaxy. Every major power was repositioning their forces, creating buffer zones around human space. They'd learned the lesson his daughter's death had written in Starfire. When Earth's soul burns, the stars burn with it, and the galaxy would never forget.